Sir, very happy morning to all. Sir, we are going to solve the workbook of the chapter exemption. In that, we know that, sir, we are having set A, set N, and set M. First, we'll be solving set A, which is ICAI questions. Illustration number 1 is the target. Good Health Medical Center, a clinical establishment, offer the following services. Basically, they have asked question from the hospital. Reiki healing treatment is the first one. So they provided Reiki healing treatment services. Number 2, plastic surgery. One such surgery was conducted to repair the cleft lip of a newborn baby. There is a second service they have provided. Air ambulance services to transport critically ill patient from distant location to the medical center. So the third service is air ambulance services. Fourth one, palliative care for terminally ill patients. On request, such care is also provided to patients at their homes. Palliative care is given to improve the quality of life of the patient who have a serious or life-threatening disease. But the goal of such care is not to cure the disease. Alternative medical treatment by way of yoga. Good Health Medical Center also operates a cord blood bank, very important part, cord blood bank, which provides service in relation to preservation of stem cells. Good Health Medical Center is of the view that since it is a clinical establishment, all the healthcare services provided by it as well as all the taxable service provided to it are exempt from GST. It is not like that. Sir, since they are healthcare services, certain service provided by the healthcare services are exempted. The remaining services are taxable. You are required to examine the situation in the light of relevant statutory provisions. Healthcare services provided by a clinical establishment, authorized medical practitioner, or paramedics are exempt from under entry number something bar something. We have not focused on the entry. In light of the same, the eligibility to exemption in respect of each service offered by Good Health Medical Center is explained below. What is the first one? Reiki healing treatment. That is not exempted. That's the first one, not exempted. So, since Reiki healing treatment is not a recognized system of medicine, in terms of Section 2H of the Clinical Establishment Act, it would not be exempted and thus GST would be payable thereon. Because only recognized system of medicine, sir, are exempt from GST. Reiki healing treatment is not a recognized system of medicine. Hence, it is taxable. Hence, it is what? I'm moving into the next one. Sir, whenever you do a question, for example, once you do this question, after this question, pause the video, go to the healthcare services, revise that part. Lot of things you will be able to connect it. Number 2, plastic surgery. One such surgery was conducted to repair cleft lip of a newborn baby. It is exempted. Sir, healthcare services does not include inter alia, cosmetic or what surgery? Except undertaken to restore or to reconstruct anatomy or functions of body affected due to, sir, congenital defects or development abnormalities or injury or trauma. Sir, if you are doing, sir, plastic surgery to restore the anatomy because of the accidents and all, that and all exempt from GST. But if you are doing plastic surgery to convert the black into white, then that is taxable because that is commercial in nature. Therefore, plastic surgery will not be entitled to the said exemption and thus GST would be payable thereon. However, plastic surgery conducted to repair a cleft lip, sometimes இந்த குழந்தை பிறக்கும்போது சுண்டெல்லாம் ஒட்டிட்டு இருக்கும் மேலே மூக்கு கூட இல்லை வந்து இப்போ 2 சுண்டு அதான் cleft lip, ஓகேவா, will be eligible for exemption as reconstruct anatomy or functions of baby affected due to, sir, congenital defects, that is cleft lip. So, if you are doing plastic surgery for a baby for a cleft lip, then it is what? Exempt from GST. The third service, air ambulance services to transport critically ill patient from different location to what center? Medical center is exempt from. We all know that, sir. Ambulance services are exempt from. Healthcare services include service by way of transportation of patient to or from a clinical establishment. Thus, air ambulance services to transport critically ill patient to good health medical center would be eligible for exemption under the said notification. The fourth one, palliative care for terminally what patient? Ill patient is exempt from, because we don't have a condition that healthcare services provided at the clinical establishment. The exemption is healthcare services provided by clinical establishment. So healthcare services means any services by way of diagnosis or treatment or care for illness, injury, deformity, abnormality, pregnancy in any recognized system of medicine in India. This is the definition of what care services. So healthcare services means any services by way of diagnosis, treatment, care for illness, injury, deformity, abnormality, pregnancy in any recognized system of medicine in India. It is immaterial whether such service is provided at the clinical establishment or at the home of the what patient or at any other place. This palliative care for terminally ill patient is exempt from. The last one, man, the fifth service they provided is, sir, alternative medical treatment by way of what? Yoga. Sir, yoga is a charitable activity, right, sir? Since yoga is a recognized system of medicine, how allopathy is there, Ayurvedam is there, the same way yoga is a recognized system of medicine in terms of section 2H of the what act? Clinical Establishment Act. Same would be eligible for exemption under the said notification. So look at the application, how they are asking, sir, H stands for what care services. So shall we have a very quick revision of H stands for healthcare services? When I revise that, many things will come to your mind, man. This is how you have to revise, sir. H stands for healthcare services. Can you say the page number, please, where it is? Yes, this is the page. H stands for healthcare services. Tell me, A stands for ambulance services. Ambulance services provided by any person are exempt from. Let it be a clinical establishment or other than clinical establishment are exempt from. Next one, biomedical waste treatment are taxable. Cord blood bank services are taxable. Healthcare services provided by clinical establishment, authorized medical practitioner and paramedics are exempt from. Sir, services by way of healthcare services provided by a clinical establishment, authorized medical practitioner or paramedics are exempt from. However, above exemption shall not apply to the service provided by a what establishment? By way of providing room other than ICU, CCU, ICCU, NICU. These four places, irrespective of the rent what you are collecting, is exempt from GST. Sir, having room charges exceeding rupees 5,000 per day to a person receiving healthcare services are taxable. That means up to 5,000 is exempted. 5,000 exceeding 5,000 per day. Exceeding 5,000 per day is what? Taxable. Service provided by way of transportation of a patient in an ambulance other than those specified in one above are exempt from what? Now, at present, biomedical waste treatment are, now at present, cord blood bank services are, now services by a veterinary clinic in relation to healthcare of birds or animals are exempt from. Service provided by rehabilitational professional recognized under the Rehabilitation Council in India by way of rehabilitation, therapy, counseling and such other activity as covered by the what act? At the medical establishment, education institution, rehabilitation center established by the central government, state government or union territory or an entity registered under 12A or of the Income Tax Act are exempt from. Are you really with me, man? So that's what the H stands for healthcare services. Sir, after when you are doing the workbook, simultaneously revise the provision, you'll be able to connect a lot of things. I'm coming to illustration number 2. Mrs. Apna Bank, sir, Limited, a scheduled commercial bank, sir, has furnished the following details for the month of August. So F stands for financial services, right, sir? Extending housing loan to its customer. When the bank give housing loan, my dear lovable students, they are just transacting in money. It's a mere transaction in money. Housing loan extended to customer, nothing will be liable to GST. Why? Since money does not constitute goods, extending housing loan is not a supply. Look at the angle. If a bank is giving, sir, loan, what they are giving? Money. Both the definition of goods and services excludes what and what? Money and securities. That means that is not liable to GST. This is called as application. This is called as application. Sir, we studied, we all know that both definition of goods and services exclude money and securities. So giving loan is money, my dear lovable students. So nothing will be liable to GST. Processing fee collected from its customer on sanction of loan. Processing fee, that means bank has processed the loan. So the service provider is bank, service recipient is customer. Hello, sir. So bank has provided a service for which the consideration has not been received by way of interest or discount. The consideration has been received by way of what fees? It is liable to what? GST. Sir, processing fee collected on sanction of loan. Interest does not include what fee? On sanction of the loan. Hence the same is taxable. Hence 20 crore is taxable. Because if the consideration is what or what? Interest or discount. Then that is exempt from GST. But processing fee is not a consideration. Commission collected from its customer on what guarantee? Sir, the consideration is commission, not what or what? Interest or discount. Hence this is liable to what? GST, my dear lovable students. Commission collected on what guarantee? Any commission collected over and above interest on loan, advance or deposit are not exempted, because only two considerations are exempted. What and what? Commission is not interest or interest income on credit card issued by the bank. Sir, other than what card services? Are you remembering the exemption? Extending deposit, loan or advances for which the consideration has been received by way of interest or discount. Other than, so this 40 crores is taxable. Interest income on credit card issued by the bank. Services by way of extending loan, in so far as the consideration is represented by way of interest or, however, interest involved in what card services is specifically excluded from this exemption entry. Comfortable, sir? Interest received on housing loan extended by the bank. Sir, this is mere transaction in money, not a supply. But for this transaction, they got the interest, that exemption, because it is covered in exemption. Consideration is what or what? Interest or discount. Are you all really with me? Interest received on what loan? Services by way of extending loan, in so far as the consideration is represented by way of interest, are exempt from GST. Sir, minimum balance charges collected from current account and what account? Savings account holder. Sir, since you have not maintained the minimum balance, they have charged some charges. Minimum, sir, account balance charges. Is it, sir, interest? No, sir. Is it, sir, discount? So this 1 crore should be what? Taxable. Sir, minimum balance charges collected from current account and savings account holder. Any charges collected over and above interest on loan, advance or deposit are not exempted. So value of taxable outward supply will be 91 crores. Are you comfortable? We have already discussed F stands for what services? Can you please say the page number? F stands for financial services. 237. Yes, sir. We'll quickly revise, man. Services provided by RBI is taxable. Services provided by way of extending deposit, loan or advances, in so far as the consideration is represented by way of interest or discount, other than credit card services. inter purchase or sale of foreign currency among bank, authorized dealers of foreign exchange, or among bank and such dealers are exempt from services provided by an acquiring bank to any person in relation to a settlement of an amount up to 2000 in a single transaction transacted through debit card, credit card, charge card, or any other payment card are exempt from services provided by an intermediary of financial services located in multi-services SEZ with IFSC status to a customer located outside India for international financial services in currency other than Indian rupee, or services provided by a banking company to basic savings bank deposit account holders under the Pradhana Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana are exempt from. I'm moving into the next one, illustration number 3. First, you should be thorough with the provisions. Then you have to apply the provisions. Then again, you have to revise the provision. Then only the things will be connecting. Are you all really with me? Determine the GST payable, if any, in each of the following independent cases, assuming that rate of GST is 18% and the service provider are registered. So, service provider are registered person. Bollywood dance performance by a film actor in a film and consideration charge is 1,45,000, which is less than 1,50,000, but artist services will not be covered here. Right, sir? You tell me taxable, exempted. Taxable. Bollywood dance performed by a film actor in a film is not exempt from GST, even though the consideration charge is less than threshold limit of. The reason for the same is that the dance performance by an artist is exempt only if it is performance in folk or classical art form of dance. Are you able to connect? The second services, man. Carnatic music performance by a classical singer to promote a brand of ready-made garments and consideration charge is 1,30,000. Why taxable? Brand ambassador. If it is brand ambassador, don't look at the consideration. Carnatic music performed by classical singer to promote a brand of ready-made garment is not exempt from GST, even though the consideration charged is less than threshold limit of, and it is performance in classical art form of what? Music. The reason for the same is that said exemption is not applicable to service provided by such artists as the third one. Carnatic music performance by a classical singer in a music concert and consideration charged is 1,55,000. Taxable because the amount exceed. Sir, Carnatic music performance by a classical singer in a music concert is not exempt from, even though it is performance in classical art form of music. The reason for the same is consideration charged for such service exceed. Consequently, entire consideration charged will be subject to what? GST. Don't reduce 1,50,000 and 5,000 will be taxable like that and all. Don't say. Once it crosses 1,50,000, entire amount is. So 1,55,000 into 18% come to 27,000. The fourth case, man. Kathak dance performance by a classical dancer in a cultural program and consideration charge is 1,45,000. Exempted. That's what the exemption is all about, right? Kathak dance performance by a classical dancer in a cultural program is exempt from GST as it is performance in classical art form of what? Dance. And consideration charged does not exceed. That is only 1,45,000. Hence the entire amount is exempted. Are you all really with me? Are you able to appreciate or understand? So we are having A stands for agriculture and art related services. In that art related services, my dear lovable students, shall we quickly recall art related services? Yes, sir. Services provided by an artist by way of performance in folk or classical art form of music, dance and theatre. If the consideration charged for such performance is not more than. However, the exemption shall not apply to service provided by such artist as a brand ambassador. Whereas performance like Western music, dance, modern theatre, performance of actors in film or television serials would be. Brand ambassador means a person engaged for promotion or marketing of a brand of goods, service, property or actionable claim, event or endorsement of name, including a trade name, logo or of any person. Comfortable, sir? Are you able to match it with the provision? I'm coming to illustration number 4. The next question what they have asked. Exempt supply means Supply of any what or what or what? Which attract nil rate of tax. Yes, sir. Exempt supply includes nil rate of tax. Exempt supply includes exempt supply. Exempt supply includes non-taxable supply. And which may be wholly exempt from tax. Yes, sir. Right. But excludes non-taxable supply. No, sir. Even exempt supply includes what also? Discuss the validity of the statement. The statement is not fully valid in law. It is partially correct. Two things are correct, but one thing is wrong. Exempt supply has been defined as supply of any what or what or what, which attract nil rate of tax or which may be wholly exempt from tax and includes non-taxable supply. And includes non-taxable supply. Comfortable? This we have studied in the types of supply. There are 5 types of supply are there. Number 1, inward supply, outward supply, taxable supply, exempt supply, and non-taxable supply. That chapter you are supposed to revise. Comfortable, sir? I'm moving into illustration number 5. Services provided by an entity registered under 12AB of the What Act are exempt from GST. If such services are provided by way of what activity? Elaborate the term charitable activity. Wow. They're just asking what is what activity. The term charitable activity means activity relating to, this is charitable activity number 1. Correct, sir? Yes, sir. By way of relating to public health. What health? You are taking care of public health by way of care or counseling of terminally ill patients or patients with severe physical or what disability, or persons afflicted with HIV or person addicted to a dependence forming substance such as narcotic drugs, or public awareness of preventive health, family planning, or prevention of HIV infection. These are charitable activities. Next one, advancement. Charitable activity number 2. Advancement of religion, spirituality, or yoga is a, sir, this is charitable activity number 3. Advancement of education program or skill development relating to abandoned, orphan, or homeless children, physically or mentally abused and traumatized person, prisoners, persons over the age of 65 years residing in. This is charitable activity number 4. Sir, preservation of environment including watershed, forest, and wildlife. So after you form a charitable trust, and if you are doing these 4 what activity? Charitable activity, then it is exempt from. Are you all really with me? So you are taking care of the public health. You are engaged in advancement of religion, spirituality, or yoga, advancement of education program, skill development relating to these 4 people, and preservation of environment including watershed, forest, and wildlife. Comfortable? So you have to be a master in what is the definition of what activity. I'm coming to illustration number 6. Examine which of the following independent services are exempt from GST. You are having case number 1 and case number 2. Sir, case number 1. Food supplied by canteen run by a hospital to the inpatients as advised by the doctor. Doctor is saying that, sir, morning you eat only chapati. Sir, doctor is saying that in noon eat only kanji. So these and all are provided by a canteen which is run by a hospital. So again, H stands for healthcare services. Service by way of healthcare services by a what establishment? An authorized medical practitioner or paramedics are exempt from. Food supplied to the what patient? By a canteen run by the, as advised by the doctor or nutritionist, is a part of composite supply of what care and not separately taxable. The said service are what from GST? Since the principal supply is exempted, automatically ancillary supply is also exempt. That's what section 8, the tax rate for the ancillary services will be tax rate of the principal supply. If the supply is a composite supply. Here in this case, supply is a composite supply. Comfortable, sir? Case number 2. An RWA, a housing society registered under the GST, collect the maintenance charges of 6,500 per month per member. We all know that what is the limit? 7,000. Supply of service by RWA, that is unincorporated body or non-profit entity registered under any law, to which own members by way of reimbursement of charges or share of contribution up to an amount of 7,500 per month per member for providing services and goods for the common use of its members in a housing society or residential complex are what from GST. Hence, in the given case, service provided by RWA are, since the maintenance charges collected per month per member do not exceed. Comfortable, sir? Shall I move into illustration number 7? An individual act as a referee in a football match. 5 things. An individual can act as 5 things. Then it is exempt from. Organized by Sports Authority of India. Sports Authority of India is a recognized. He has also acted as a referee in another charity football match organized by a local sports club in lieu of lump sum payment. Discuss whether any GST is payable on the activity undertaken by him. 2 activities actually he has undertaken. One to recognize sports body and other is service provided to a recognized sports body by an individual. Inter alia, a referee in a what event organized by the recognized sport body is exempt from GST. So, since in the first case, football match is organized by what authority of India? Which is a recognized what body? Service provided by individual as referee in such football match will be. However, sir, the second part number 2, sir, when he act as a referee in charitable football match organized by a local sports club, he would not be entitled to the aforesaid exemption as a local sports club is not a recognized sports body. And this GST will be payable in this case. So, as a, sir, individual, we all know that, sir, in Z we have discussed sports related services, right, sir? Can you get the page number of that? 312. We will be quickly going through. Yes, sir. Service provided to a recognized what body? Sports body. By individual as 5 things. Number 1, player, referee, umpire, coach, team manager. Who and all, sir? Player, referee, umpire, coach, team manager. Repeat once again. Player, referee, umpire, coach for participation in a sporting event organized by recognized sports body. Or one recognized sports body is providing services to another recognized sports body are exempt from. Sir, what is the definition of recognized sports body? Recognized sports body means Indian Olympic Association, Sports Authority of India, a National Sports Federation, National Sports Promotion Organization, International Olympic Association, Federation or a body which regulates a sport. You may think that, sir, this and all very important. This is the definition of recognized what body. From that only they have asked the question. If you understand that, sir, football match organized by Dash Authority of India, they are recognized what body? That's why it is exempt from. Other than recognized sports body are, I'm moving into illustration number 8. Shall we? RXL Private Limited manufacture a beauty shop with the name Forever Young. RXL Private Limited has organized a concert to promote its brand. Miss Ahana Kapoor, its brand ambassador, who's a leading film actress, I don't know, has given a classical what performance, dance performance in the said concert as a part of her service as what ambassador. The proceeds of the concert worth rupees 1,25,000 will be donated to charitable organization by Miss Ahana. So, letter even put on dustbin also. Still it is liable to what? GST. Because she is providing the service as. Examine whether Miss Ahana Kapoor will be required to pay any GST for the classical dance performance given in the said concert. Sir, this is a provision, sir. This is a provision. Services by an artist by way of performance in folk or classical art form of music, dance and theatre are exempt from. If the consideration charged for such performance is not more than. However, such exemption is not available in respect of service provided by such artist as a. Hence, this is the conclusion, sir. Since Mrs. Hana Kapoor is a brand ambassador of Forever Young, soap manufactured by RXL Private Limited. The service rendered by her by way of classical dance performance in the concert organized by RXL Private Limited to promote its brand will not be eligible for the above mentioned exemption and thus be liable to what? The fact that proceeds of the concert will be donated to a what organization by Mrs. Ahana will not have any bearing on the eligibility or otherwise to the above mentioned exemption. The consideration you put it on dustbin, consideration you give to a charitable organization, that doesn't matter. Based on that, we will not fix whether it is taxable or exempted. Comfortable, sir. Moving into illustration number 9. Examine whether GST is exempted on the following independent supply of services. Service provided by a private transport operator to a scholar boys higher secondary school by way of transportation of students to and from the school. Service provided to an education institution by way of transportation of students, staff and faculty are exempt from. Yes, service provided to an education institution by way of transportation of students are exempt from GST. Are you really with me? This is what, sir, situation number 1. Number 2, service provided by way of vehicle parking to a general public in a shopping mall. Taxable because we have not learned any exemption anywhere. Right, sir? This is the sir, question. No. Service provided by way of vehicle parking to what public are not exempt from. Therefore, GST is payable on the same. Comfortable, sir? I'm moving into illustration number 10. A state transport undertaking has hired motor vehicle meant to carry 8 to 10 passengers from fast cab renting, a motor vehicle renting company. Give your comments as to whether any GST is payable in this case. Yes, sir. Hiring of means of transport to a state transport undertaking having a capacity of more than, this is only 8 to 10 passengers. Hence, it should be service by way of giving on hire inter alia to a state transport undertaking. A motor vehicle meant to carry more than is exempt from. Since a motor vehicle given on hire by fast cab renting to the state transport undertaking are meant to carry only how much passenger? The same would not be eligible for exemption and would thus be liable to GST. Comfortable? Shall I move into illustration number 11? Indiana Engineering College, an education institution, has conducted an entrance test examination for various courses run by it for obtaining qualification recognized by law for the time being in force, that means Indian law only, and charged entrance fees from the applicant. Exempted because service provided by an education institution to its students, staff and faculty. Service provided by way of conduct of entrance examination for which the consideration has been received by way of what fee are exempt from. Determine whether Indiana Engineering College is liable to pay GST on the same. Services provided by an education institution by way of conduct of entrance examination against consideration in the form of entrance fee are exempt from. Since in the given case, service provided by Indiana Engineering College, a dash institution, are by way of conduct of what examination? Against entrance fee, same is exempt and thus GST is not payable in this case. Comfortable? I'm moving into illustration number 12. Blue transporters, a GTA, transported relief material in a goods carriage meant to victims of Kerala flood, a natural disaster by road from Delhi to Ernakulam, a company. The blue transporter is of the view that this is not liable to pay GST on the said service provided as the said services are exempt. You are required to advise it on the said issue. What you are thinking? Exempted, taxable? Service provided by GTA by way of transport in a goods carriage of relief material meant for victims of inter alia, natural or man-made disaster calamities are exempt from. Therefore, service provided by blue transporter will be exempt from GST. Comfortable? Because we are having specified goods such as relief material, railway equipment is taxable, military or defense equipment, agricultural produce, milk, salt and food grains including flour, rice and pulses, organic manure, newspaper and magazine registered. Comfortable? So if a GTA is transporting these specified goods, then it is illustration number 13. K Enterprises, an event organizer, provided services to Breathing Wall Limited by way of organizing business exhibition in where? As a part of Make in India initiative. K Enterprises claims that it is not required to pay GST as a service provided by of organizing what exhibition? Are exempt from, sir, organizing business exhibition are only exempt. Right, sir? Examine the technical veracity of the claim of K Enterprises in the given case. No. The claim made by K Enterprises that it is not required to pay GST is not service provided by an organizer to any person in respect of business exhibition are exempt from only when such business exhibition is held. However, since in this case exhibition is being organized, service of organization of event by K Enterprises will not be exempt from GST. Comfortable? Moving to illustration number 14. ST Limited has given on hire 5 truck to Ritu Transporters of Delhi, a GTA, for transporting goods in Central and West Delhi. The hiring charges for the truck are 7,500 per truck per day. Examine whether GST is payable in the given case. No, sir. Because if a lorry has been given hire to a GTA is exempt from GST is not payable in case of hiring of truck to, sir, T2 transporters since service by way of giving on hire inter alia to a goods transport agency by means of transportation of goods are comfortable, sir. Sir, these questions are there in the ICAI study material from the exemption chapter. What you are supposed to do, you know, sir, don't simply answer the question because then you will understand that particular question. Revise the provisions and even small things you note it and try to apply in that questions and you question yourself whether that is taxable or exempted. Then only you will learn something. Otherwise, if this question comes in exam, you will be pakka. If a new question, sir, twisted adjustment comes, sir, you will think that you will get confused in the examination hall whether it is taxable or exempted. So what is the right process? The right process is be very thorough in the provisions. Sir, I know only provision, that is knowledge. Sir, I don't know application, then that is a, sir, big shortfall for the examination. Compilers are the knowledge and workbook is the application. If you have both, then only the examination will work out. I will study only provision. No, sir, it will not work out, sir. Sir, I won't study provision at all. I will directly do the what? Workbook. Sir, then you know the workbook question. There is no doubt because question is there. Answer is there. Sir, if a new question come in examination, you will be, sir, seeing here and there and you will waste the time. Don't do that. The right process is be an expert in the compiler, apply those provisions in the workbook, then you will go wrong here and there. No problem. But that is a right process. Comfortable? With this, we can say that we are done with the ICAI questions of exemption. Yes, sir. Sir, we have completed the ICAI question. I am moving into the RTP MTP question. You try to answer by your own when I am reading one sentence. You tell me whether taxable or exempted. Then you will go wrong. That is the biggest asset in life. Determine the tax payable at 18%, my dear lovable students, with respect to each of the following independent service provided by the registered person. Fees charged for yoga camp conducted by a charitable trust registered under 12AA of the Income Tax Act. Exempted because yoga is one of the charitable activities. So fees charged for yoga camp conducted by a charitable trust registered under 12AA of the Income Tax Act. Gross amount charged is how much? We are having note number 1. Services by an entity registered under 12AA of the Income Tax Act by way of charitable activity are what from GST? The activity relating to advancement of yoga are included in the definition of charitable activity. So such activity are exempt from. So this 50,000 rupees is exempted. Comfortable, sir. Number two, amount charged by business correspondent from banking company for the service provided to the rural branch of bank with respect to savings bank account. Exempted, taxable. Exempted, taxable. Exempted because it is rural branch. It is business correspondent from banking company. Amount charged by the business correspondent. That means he has provided service to a what company? Banking company in relation to a rural. Amount charged by business correspondent from banking company for the service provided to the rural branch of bank with respect to savings bank account, total 1 lakh. Service by a business facilitator or business correspondent to a what company? With respect to accounts in its what area? Rural area branch have been exempt from, because if the service provider is business facilitator or business correspondent to a banking company with respect to branch of what? Rural branch is exempt from. Comfortable, sir. Amount charged by cord blood bank for preservation of stem cell. Now it is taxable. Service provided by cord blood bank by way of preservation of stem cell or any other service in relation to such preservation are not exempt from GST, and consequently it is amount charged for service provided selectors to a recognized sports body. Is selector is there in the 5 people? No, sir. Hence it is what? Service provided to a recognized sports body only by an individual as a player, a referee, umpire, coach or team manager for participation in a sporting event organized by a recognized sports body are exempt from. The service provided by selectors are liable to. Look at the way in which they are testing. Even small things they are testing. Sir, you should be able to appreciate player, a referee, umpire, team manager, coach and team manager are only exempt from. I'm moving into RTP November 2018 one question. Ram, an agriculturalist, has stored sugar cane in a warehouse. He has taken fumigation services in the said warehouse from Gupta Pest Control Company, for which he paid consideration of how much? 6,000. He seeks your advice on the taxability or otherwise of the service so availed by him. Fumigation services by in a warehouse of agriculture are taxable. Service by way of fumigation in a warehouse of agriculture produce is not exempt from. In the present case, even though Gupta Pest Control Limited provides service by way of fumigation in the warehouse of what? Being an agriculture produce, but that is not service in relation to what produce. And consequently, it is, if you are strong in provision, sir, this application is very easy. Shall we move into RTP May 2020 question? Mrs. Damodar Limited provides services by way of storage of seasonal fruits and vegetables in, sir, Batinda, Punjab, basically, leave it. Sir, seasonal fruits like mango is a seasonal fruit. Sir, some XYZ is a seasonal fruit. Both all are agricultural produce. The monthly rental for the godown is how much? 15,000. Examine whether GST is payable by Mrs. Damodar Limited. As per notification number 12/2017, service provided in relation to agriculture produce are, as seasonal fruits and vegetables are what produce? Its storage services are, thus no GST is payable on the service provided by Mrs. Damodar Limited by way of storage of seasonal fruits and vegetables in Batinda, Punjab. Comfortable? I'm moving into illustration number 4. Good question. Try to answer those questions. Sungrow Private Limited, a registered taxable person having the gross receipts of 50 lakh in the previous financial year, provide the following information relating to their services for the month of July 2018. So these are the services they have provided in July 2018. Running a boarding school. Boarding school means you have to stay there and you have to study there. How much rupees they collected fees? 2,40,000. School, you tell me, taxable or exempted? Service provided by an education institution to its students, staff and faculty are exempt from. service by a boarding school, service provided by an education institution to its students, staff and faculty are exempted. Fees for prospective employer, for what interview? After you become chartered accountant, campus interview will be conducted. You will go and attend so many companies. What interview? Campus interview. I am only organizing that campus interview. For that, from various company, I got a consideration of 1,70,000. Hello, sir. Is this campus interview services are exempted anywhere? No, sir. Hence, it has to be taxable. Fees from prospective employer for what interview are not exempted because such exemption is not there in section 11. Hence, it is what? Taxable. Education services for obtaining the qualification recognized by law of foreign country. Taxable because only by Indian countries. So, they have typically asked a question from Q stands for what? Qualification. Education services for obtaining the qualification recognized by law of what country? An institution providing education services for obtaining qualification recognized by what country does not qualify as what institution? The said services are not exempted. Sir, they are not at all a education institution because in order to be an education institution, it should be provided by what law? Indian law, not renting of what flat for temporary stay to different person. Rent per day is less than 1,000 per flat, 1,20,000. Sir, this is like a hotel. This is not renting of residential dwelling. In order to be a residential dwelling, the stay should be for more period, not per day basis. Right, sir? Since it is like hotel, it should be what? That's what 1,20,000 is taxable. Renting of furnished flat for temporary stay. This is like Oyo rooms to different person. Rent per day is less than or more than 1,000 per flat. This is considered as renting of what property? For what purpose? Commercial purpose. Therefore, the same is taxable. Whereas renting of residential dwelling to an unregistered person are exempt from? Fantastic. But this is not residential dwelling. In order to be a residential dwelling, it should be long term, not the fantastic to the core. Conducting modular employable skill course approved by NCVT, National Council for Vocational Training. Exempted. Conducting modular employable skill course approved by NCVT, an institution providing modular employable what course qualifies as education institution. Service provided by an education institution to its students, staff and faculty are conducting private tuition. Taxable. We A&M classes are providing private tuition only. That's why we are collecting what? GST. Because we are not education institution. Hello, sir. So this 3 lakh rupees are taxable. Conducting private tuition is not exempted, man. The next one, running martial arts academy for young children like Kung Fu, Karate, sir, Kathakali varadu. Martial arts, correct? Yes, sir. So you tell me, taxable, exempted? Taxable. Sir, running martial arts academy for young children, not exempt, as the same is not conducted by a individual. Who is conducting? Sungrow Private Limited. Whereas, sir, recreational activity provided by way of culture or sports, culture or arts by an individual, or sports by a registered charitable trust are exempt from. If the same recreational activity has been done by an individual, then it is exempt from. This is a company, hence it is liable to what? GST. So CA, culture and arts by an individual. We are having a specific exemption. That exemption is very important for examination. Recreational activity relating to what and what? Culture and arts by an and sports by a registered charitable trust are exempt from. Here the service provider is not an individual but a company. Hence that exemption will not be. Hence it is taxable. Conducting career counseling sessions, taxable, because there is no specific exemption we have learned, right, sir? 1,65,000. Conducting career counseling session is not exempted. If you add, you will get the value of taxable supply and GST payable at how much percent? 18%. Compute the value of taxable supply and amount of what payable? Amount received does not include the GST amount. Rate of GST is 18%. It's a MTP May 2019 question. You know, The allotted mark for this question will be 5 to 7 mark in examination. Hello, sir? Yes, sir. Sir, those who are very strong in provisions will be able to enjoy this. What I'm repeating is, we revise the provision, not only revision, apply the provisions. Hello, sir? Yes, sir. We are moving into illustration number 5. This illustration is a MTP mock test paper November 2018 question. Kesar Maharaj, a registered supplier, gave a classical dance performance in an auditorium. Good. Consideration charged for the said performance is 1,48,500. Very good. Is Kesar Maharaj liable to pay GST on the consideration received for the said performance if such performance is not for promotion of any product or services? Service provided by an artist in relation to folk or classical art form or dance, where the consideration does not exceed 1,50,000 is exempt from? If yes, determine his GST liability. CGST and SGST or IGST as the case may be is the first question. Will your answer be different? Case number 1, case number 2, case number 3. If Kesar Maharaj is a brand ambassador of food product, taxable, and aforesaid performance is for the promotion of such food product, taxable. Dance performance given by Kesar Maharaj is not a classical dance performance, but a contemporary Bollywood style dance performance, taxable. Sir, consideration charged by Kesar Maharaj for the classical dance is 1,60,000. Service provided by Kesar Maharaj are intra-state supply. Whether applicable GST has been charged separately. Rate of CGST, SGST and IGST 9%, 9%, 18% respectively. Sir, shall we? Notification number 12/2017 exempt service by artists by way of performance in folk or classical art form of music, dance or theatre. If the consideration charged for such performance is not more than, however, exemption will not apply to service provided by such artist as a, in view of the aforesaid provision, service provided by Kesar Maharaj are exempt from, if consideration for the classical dance performance has not exceeded, therefore his GST liability will be nil in the base question. Very comfortable. Case number 1. If Kesar Maharaj is a brand ambassador of what product and aforesaid performance is for the promotion of such what product, he will be liable to pay GST as the aforesaid exemption is not applicable to service provided by artist as a. His CGST and SGST liability would therefore be 13,365, which is nothing but 1,48,500 into 9% CGST and 1,48,500 into 9% SGST respectively. Comfortable. Case number 2. If Kesar Maharaj gives a contemporary what style performance, such performance would not be eligible for what exemption? The reason for the same is that although the consideration charge does not exceed, said performance is not in folk or classical art form of dance, hence GST would be, his CGST and SGST liability would therefore be 13,365 and 13,365 respectively, 9% CGST and 9%. If the consideration charged for the classical what performance by Kesar Maharaj is 1 lakh, he will be liable to pay GST on the same, as although the performance is by way of classical art form of dance consideration. Consideration charge for such performance has exceeded how much? His CGST and SGST liability would therefore be 14,400, that is 1,60,000 into 9% and 1,60,000 into 9% respectively. Comfortable? Pakka, sir. Shall I move into illustration number 6, sir? This is a RTP November 2019 question. State with reason whether GST is payable in the following independent cases. Case number 1. Service provided to recognized sports body as curator of national team. Taxable because this guy, only 5 people are exempted, right? Player, referee, umpire, coach, team manager. Service provided to a recognized sports body by individual as a player, a referee, umpire, coach or team manager for participation in a organized by recognized sports body are exempted. The GST is payable in a case of service provided to a recognized sports body as curator of what team? National team. Number 2, man. Service provided by way of transportation of passengers in metered cab. Exempted. Service of transportation of passenger with or without accompanied belongings inter alia by meter cab are specifically exempt from. Thus GST is not payable in this case. Comfortable, sir. Service by way of public conveyance such as provision of facility of washroom, bathroom, etc. Exempted. Service by way of public conveyances such as provision of facility of bathroom, washroom, lavatory, urinal, toilet are not liable to, as it is specifically exempted. Thus GST is not payable in this case. Service provided by a player to a franchisee which is not a recognized sports body, taxable. Service provided by a player to a franchisee which is not a recognized sport body is taxable. Thus GST is payable in this case. Comfortable? Moving into illustration number 7, my dear lovable students. This is the RTP November 2019 question. Examine whether supply of food and drink in the following independent cases is exempt from GST. Case number 1. Smart Kids is a play school located in Delhi. Smart Kids has outsourced the catering service for supply of food and drink in the canteen of play school to BTV Caterers, Delhi for a consideration of 8 lakhs per annum. You tell me first, Smart Kids is a play school. Is play school an education institution? Play school is not an education institution. There are 3 people are education institution. Education up to higher secondary or equivalent. Up to higher secondary means play school are below +2 only. What the question is done, understand the transaction. Smart Kids is a play school located in Delhi. Smart Kids has outsourced the what services for supply of food and drink in the canteen of what school? To BTV Caterers. They are the service provider and education institution is the service recipient for a consideration of how much lakhs? 8 lakhs. Taxable, exempted. Service provided to an education institution providing service by way of preschool education and education up to higher secondary or equivalent by way of catering is exempt from, because 5 things are exempted. Service provided to an education institution by way of transportation of students, staff and faculty, catering services including midday meals, security, housekeeping and cleaning services. In this 1, 2, 3 is applicable to +2. Hello sir. This is catering services, preschool up to +2, education institution exempt from. Thus in the given case, service provided by BTV Caterers to Smart Kids are exempt from. Look at the case number 2. Wellness Hospital, a clinical establishment located in Tirupati, is specialized in diabetic treatment. Hospital has its own canteen, Tasty Foods. The canteen serves the food and drink to inpatients as advised by doctors or nutritionists of the hospital. Apart from this, other patients who are not admitted or attendants or visitors of the inpatient also take food and drink from the canteen. Once they supply to the patients, it become a composite supply. Once they supply to other than patient, it become a, I'm reading the case number 2. Service by way of healthcare services provided by clinical establishment, authorized medical practitioner or paramedics are exempt from. In this regard, CBIC has clarified that food supplied by hospital canteen to inpatient as advised by the or attendants or visitors of inpatient is taxable. Sir, doctor or nutritionist is a part of what care services and is not separately, thus it is exempt from. However, other supplies of food by hospital to patient that is not admitted or their attendants or visitors are, in view of the same, GST is exempted on food supplied by Tasty Food to the inpatients as advised by doctors or with other supplies of food by to patients not admitted or attendants or visitors of the inpatients are. So, if the food has been supplied to patient, then it is exempted. If the food has been supplied to other than patients, it is taxable. Because if the food has been supplied to patients, it will be treated as healthcare services. It's part of composite supply. Hence, it is exempt from, but that is not exempt from GST. Comfortable, sir? Sir, we'll be doing one more question. Illustration number 8. This is a RTP November 21 question. Geeta Services Limited, registered under GST, is engaged in providing various services provided to what? Services provided to government, Sarkar. Company provides the following information in respect of service provided during the month of April. Supply of manpower for cleanliness of road not involving any supply of goods. That means pure labor services provided to the government to achieve the statutory function entrusted to a municipality under Article 243W of the Constitution or Panchayat under Article 243G of the Constitution should be exempt from supply of manpower for cleanliness of roads not involving any supply of goods. Pure service provided to government are number 2. Service provided by fair price shop, ration shop, owned by Geeta Services Limited by way of sale of sugar under public distribution system against consideration in the form of commission are exempt from GST. If you are running a ration shop, for that if you are getting commission, then that is exempt from service provided by fair price shop by way of sale of sugar under the public distribution system. Service provided by fair price shop to government by way of sale of sugar under the public distribution system against consideration in the form are exempt from service of maintenance of street light in a municipal area involving replacement of defunct light and other spares along with maintenance. Generally, replacement of defunct light and other spare constitute 35% of the supply of service. Taxable because material how much allowed? So hence it is taxable. Service of maintenance of street light in a municipal area involving replacement of defunct light and other spares constituting 35% of the supply of services. Composite supply of goods and services to government in which the value of supply of goods constitute not more than of the value of the said composite supply is exempt. Since in this case, value of supply of goods constitute 35% of the supply of composite service. Same is the last part. Service of brochure distribution provided under a training program for which 70% of the total expenditure is borne by the government. How much percent government should bond? But this is only 70%. Hence it is, look at that minute percentage, minute things they are, sir, asking. Service of brochure distribution provided under a training program. Service provided to government under any training program for which 75% of more of the total expenditure is borne by government is exempt. Since in the given case 70% of the total expenditure is borne by the government, it is taxable. Comfortable, sir. Comment on the taxability or otherwise of the above transaction under GST law. Also state the correct legal provisions for the same. Are you able to apply? My dear lovable students, we are doing the RTP and MTP. We are having still some more questions to complete. Man, sir, we are having totally 13 questions are there. Sir, out of that 13, we have completed 8. Take a break, revise this 8 question and continue with the remaining. Always revision is the key to success. Sir, very happy morning to all. So we are doing the workbook of exemption section 11. Yes, sir. Question number 9 because we have done till question number 8. Sir, determine the GST payable, if any, in each of the following independent cases, assuming that rate of GST is 18% and service providers are registered under the GST. Bollywood dance performance by a film actor in a film 1,45,000. Taxable because this is purely commercial. For this and all, no exemption under section 11. Bollywood dance performance by a film actor in a film is not exempt from GST even though the consideration charge is less than threshold limit of how much? 1,50,000. The reason for same is that dance performance by an artist is exempt only if it is performance in folk or classical art form of dance. Consequently, entire consideration charge is subject to GST as follows. 1,45,000 into 18% comes to 26,100. Moving to the second scenario. Carnatic music performance by a classical singer to promote a brand of ready-made garments. That means they are acting as a, if you are acting as a brand ambassador, then that is not exempt from. Carnatic music performance by a classical singer to promote a brand of ready-made garments is not exempt from GST even though the consideration charge is less than threshold limit of 1 lakh and it is a performance in classical art form of music. The reason for the same is the said exemption is not applicable to service provided by such artist as a what ambassador. Consequently, entire consideration charged is subject to GST as follows. 1,30,000 into 18% come to 23,000. The next one. Carnatic music performance by a classical singer in a music concert, 1,55,000. Taxable because the consideration exceed. Carnatic music performance by a classical singer in a music concert is not exempt from GST. Sir, even though it is a performance in classical art form of music, the reason for the same is the consideration charged for the service exceed how much? Consequently, entire consideration charged is subject to GST as follows. 1,55,000 into 18% comes to 27,000. Kathak dance performance by a classical dancer in a cultural program, 1,45,000. Exempted because all the condition has been. Kathak dance performance by a classical dancer in a cultural program is exempt from GST as it is a performance in classical art form of dance, and consideration charge does not exceed 1,55,000. That is only 1 lakh. Comfortable, sir. That's it with regard to illustration number 9, and which has been tested in, sir, that illustration number 9 has been tested in EMTP May 22, recent MTP, man. Coming to the illustration number 10, determine whether GST is payable in each of the following independent transaction. We are having two cases. Case number 1. Dhruv developers sold a plot of land in Greater Noida after leveling, laying down of drainage lines, water lines and electricity lines. Sir, they sold a plot of land after, sir, leveling the drainage line, water line and electricity line. You tell me whether GST is payable or not. Sir, for this actually the CBIC has given a circular. Based on that circular only question they are asking. This circular we have not discussed in class. Now only I am going to teach. Okay, sir? Case number 1. GST is not payable by Dhruv developers on sale of plot of land. Circular number 177-09-2022. Something dated, something clarifies that. Applicability on GST on sale of land after leveling, laying down of drainage, etc. As per para 5 of schedule 3 of the CGST Act. What is schedule 3? Negative list. Sale of land is neither a supply of goods nor a supply of, because land, sir, is covered in schedule 3. If you are selling land, no need to pay GST. That everyone knows, right, sir? Therefore, sale of land does not attract what? Land may be sold either as it is or after some development such as leveling, laying down of drainage line, water line, electricity line, etc. It is clarified that sale of such developed land is also what of land only and is covered by para 5 of schedule 3 and accordingly does not attract what? So what this circular is clarifying that if you are simply selling a land, it is already covered in the what 3? Schedule 3. But if you are doing some work, for example, sir, land robo kuriya irukku, you put some, sir, sand, some, sir, something, you have leveled that place. Now you have run that JCB, you have worked that fully. Hello, sir. If that is the case, still it will be treated as sale of what only? Land only. And my dear lovable students, it is still covered in the what list? Negative list. It is neither supply of goods nor supply of. That's what as per the circular. Number 2. Deccan Shipping Private Limited registered under GST in Andaman and Nicobar Island. Where they have registered? Andaman and Nicobar Island. Provided the passenger transportation service to the local residents in ferries owned by it from Nail Island to Havelock Island. That means from one island to another island they are taking. This is inland waterways. Inland waterways. Transportation of passenger service provided by private operator, that is Deccan Shipping Private Limited, or what from GST. Why circular number something or something clarifies that applicability of GST on private ferry tickets, transportation of passenger by public transport other than predominantly for what purpose? In a vessel between places located in India is exempt from what? GST. We are having a specific exemption notification, right, sir? Sir, transportation of passenger by vessel in a place situated in India are exempt from. So it is clarified that this exemption would apply to ticket purchase for transportation from one point to another, irrespective of whether the ferry is owned or operated by what sector enterprise or by a public sector undertaking or government. Sir, how we are saying buses the same way, in order to transport from one place to another, we can transport in vessel, we can transport in ship. The same way the small ship or small boat is called as ferry. Sir, if that ferry is owned by the private sector people or public sector people, that exemption will be applicable. Because C stands for cab, we all know. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. Part 1, metered cab or auto rickshaw, including e-rickshaw. Railway other than first class and AC. Monorail, metro, tramway. Inland waterways. Public transport other than predominantly for tourism purpose. In a vessel. Places located in India. Sir, it is only in a vessel. This is not actually vessel. This is ferry. So people were having a doubt that whether that exemption is applicable to ferry also. That's what government came up with a circular, and government said that yes, even the ferry also doing the same job of a vessel. So whether it is owned by the private people or public sector undertaking, it is exempt from. So Deccan Shipping Private Limited, registered under GST in Andaman and Nicobar Island, provided the passenger transportation service to the local residents in the ferry owned by it from Nail Island to Havelock Island. So this scenario, this situation is purely covered under transportation of passengers by a vessel for public transport other than predominantly for tourism purpose. So even though this is in ferry, circular is clarifying that still that is exempt from. Fantastic to the core. I am moving into illustration number 11. Sir, Miss Pant, a registered supplier of Rajasthan, has received the following amount in respect of activities undertaken by her during the month of April. Amount received for warehousing of sugar cane, 50,000. You tell me, taxable or exempted? Sugar cane, it's not sugar. Is sugar cane an agricultural produce? So, she received an amount of 50,000 for warehousing of sugar cane, taxable or exempted? We'll look the answer, man. It is exempted, man. Amount received for warehousing of sugar cane, warehousing of agricultural produce are exempt from. Because we all know that loading, unloading, packing, storage and warehousing of agricultural produce. Sugar cane is agricultural produce, but sugar is not. Yes, sir. Commission received as business facilitator for the service provided to urban branch of a nationalized bank with respect to savings bank account. It should be what branch? Rural branch. So this 20,000 is taxable or exempted? So this 20,000 is, sir, nil. Why nil? Commission received as what facilitator? Here you should be logically very clear, man. So this is Miss Pand. Miss Pand is the what provider? Service provider. So she has provided services to the bank. Right, sir? Service provided by a what facilitator? To a banking company with respect to account only in its what area are exempt from GST. That point you rightly said. In the given case, since service are being provided to a what branch of the branch, they are taxable. Full stop. However, the tax payable thereon is to be paid by recipient of services. That is a reverse charge mechanism. So this item is there in RCM. In 9353, this item is there. Service is provided by a business facilitator to a banking company. Banking company is the person liable to pay GST. So, in this case, since this is not for rural area, this is for urban area, it is taxable at what CM? That is banking company under what charge? Reverse charge. Hence, Miss P will not be liable to pay GST on commission received for said services So this is taxable not under what CM? FCM. This is taxable under, since it is taxable at RCM, my dear lovable students. Sir, Mr. Pant is not liable to collect GST from the bank. Bank has to pay GST under what CM? RCM. This is conceptual understanding of the act. Sir, situation number 3. Amount received for services by way of labor contract for repairing a single residential unit otherwise than as a part of residential complex. What service they have provided? Repair service they have provided. Sir, we are having an exemption, but that exemption is for what purpose is the highlight? Whether in that exemption repairing is covered or not. You tell me, taxable or exempted? The same you would have studied. Sir, say labor contractor for construction of single residential unit otherwise than as a part of residential complex is exempt from. Sir, amount received for service by way of what contract? Labor contract. Service by way of pure labor contract of construction, erection, commissioning or installation of original work pertaining to a single residential unit otherwise than as a part of what complex are exempt from what? GST. Since such service are being provided for repairing the residential unit, they are not eligible for exemption. Look at how examination they are testing. Because these 4 things are only exempt from GST. What and all? Construction, erection, commissioning, installation. But what service they have provided? Repair services. That repair services are liable to, so 10,000 into 18% come to 1,800. That too, this will be collected what? FCM. So RCM will not be applicable. Comfortable, sir? Total GST payable is 1,800. IGST is payable on interstate supply. If it is interstate supply, IGST has to be paid. All the amounts stated above are dash state supply. So we are supposed to collect the IGST and all amount are exclusive of GST. You are required to compute total GST payable by Miss P for the month of April, assuming the rate of GST to be 18%. Comfortable? I'm moving into illustration number 12. This is an RTP November 2023 question. Examine the implication of GST on payment of honorarium to the guest anchor. Anchors will be there. Anchor. Sir, if you pay honorarium to the guest anchors, what is the taxability? There were one circular. They are asking question from circular. Those circular I am teaching only now. Circular number something bar something dated 3/8/2022 clarifies that applicability on GST on honorarium paid to what anchor? Sir, Sunset TV and other TV channel invite guest anchor to participate in their show and pay remuneration to them in the form of honorarium. It is clarified that supply of all goods and services are taxable unless exempt or declared as neither supply of goods nor supply of services provided by the guest anchor in lieu of honorarium attract what liability? Yes, sir. Sir, there is no specific exclusion for the honorarium. Have we anywhere we studied honorarium is exempted? No, sir. So they are also providing workman services. You are also paying the consideration as honorarium. It is liable to GST. However, guest anchor whose aggregate turnover in a financial year does not exceed how much lakh? 20 lakh and 10 lakh in case of specified special category states shall not be liable to take registration and pay what? If the guest, sir, anchor's aggregate turnover does not exceed 20 lakh or 10 lakh, they are not liable to take registration. If they are not liable to take what? Registration, they are not a taxable supplier. They are a non-taxable supplier. For non-taxable supplier, generally GST will not be attracted. Right, sir? I'm moving into illustration number, sir, 13. This is an RTP May 2023 question. Determine whether GST is payable in each of the following independent transaction. Deccan Shipping Private Limited registered under GST in Andaman and Nicobar Island. Provided the passenger transportation service to the local resident in ferries owned by it from Nail Island to Havelock Island. Same question has been repeated. You tell me now whether it is taxable or exempted. Exempted. As per which point? Public transport other than predominantly for tourism purpose in a. So transportation of passenger service provided by private operator Deccan Shipping Private Limited are exempt from GST. White circular number something but something clarify. The applicability of GST on private ferry ticket. Transportation of passenger by public transport other than predominantly for what purpose? In a vessel between places located in India is exempt from. It is clarified that this exemption would apply to ticket purchase for transportation of 1.2 irrespective of whether the ferry is owned or operated by what sector enterprise or by public sector undertaking or government. It is further clarified that expression public transport used in the said exemption notification only means that the transport should be open to what? Public. That means public should use that transportation. It does not mean that the owner of the transport should be public sector. It's not like that. Even private people can also run that. And my dear lovable students, it can be privately or publicly owned. Only exclusion is on transportation, which is predominantly for what? Tourism. Such as service may combine with what? Transportation, sightseeing, food and beverage, music, accommodation, such as in shikara, cruise, etc. Hello, sir. So if you are transportation of passengers in vessel between public places in India other than for tourism purpose are exempt from. If it is by ferry, then also it is exempted. If that ferry is owned by private people, then also it is exempt from. That's it with regard to the second set, that is RTP and MTP question from our exemption. Are you all really with me, man? We are having only one pending, man, set number M, that is past examination question. This is how exemption chapter is being tested. Decide with reason whether the following independent services are exempt under CGST Act. Google Resident Welfare Association received 9,000 per month as contribution from each member for sourcing of goods and service from third party for common use of its members. You tell me, taxable exempt? Because it is more than. That's what case number 1. Service by an unincorporated body or registered non-profit entity to its own member by way of share of contribution up to an amount of 7,500 per month per member for sourcing of goods or service from a third person for common use of its members in a housing society or residential complex is exempt from. In the given case, monthly contribution per month per member received by Gokul Resident Welfare Association exceeds. Therefore, the entire amount is chargeable to what? GST. Are you able to place the provision? Mr. Vikalp, a performing artist, has received 1,58,000 from performance of classical dance and 90,000 from acting in TV serial during the month of June. Both are taxable. Case number 2, service by an artist by way of performance in folk or classical art form of music, dance or theatre. If the consideration charged for such performance is not more than 1,50,000 are exempt from. In the given case, since the consideration received by performance artist Mr. Vikalp for performance of classical dance is more than, said service are not. Further consideration received for TV serial is also not exempt, since the said performance is not in folk or classical art form or theatre. Comfortable, sir? Are you able to place in the examination question? If that is the case, that's it, man. We have done with the chapter because we are knowing every provision. Coming to illustration number 2, this is a May 2018 past examination question. Examine whether GST is exempted on the following independent supply of services. Teja and Co., a tour operator, provides service to foreign tourists for tour conducted in Jammu and Kashmir and receives a sum of 3 lakh. Where the tour has been provided? Jammu Kashmir. Is Jammu within India, outside India? So, service has been provided within India. Is it exempt or taxable? Taxable. So, case number 1, service provided by tour operator to a foreign tourist are exempt from, provided such service are in relation to a tour conducted wholly. In the given case, service provided by Teja and Co. are in relation to a tour conducted within India, same are not exempt from GST. Comfortable? Mrs. Purva act as team manager for Indian Sports League A recognized sports body for a tennis tournament organized by multi-brand retail company and received a remuneration of how much lakh? 2 lakh. Taxable exempted. Exempted. Service provided by a what manager to a recognized sports body for participation in a sporting event are exempt from, provided said sporting event is organized by recognized. In the given case, the sporting event is not organized by recognized what body? Service provided by Miss Purva are not exempt from. Read the question once again. Miss Purva act as what manager? That is Pakka. For Indian Sports League. Hello, sir. A recognized what body? For a tennis tournament organized by multi-brand retail company. Have you understood how examination question? Yes, sir. Now you read it. Service provided by what manager? Team manager. To a recognized what body? For participation in a sporting event are exempt from GST, provided said sporting event should be organized by recognized sports body. Here that is a problem. That sporting event has not been organized by the recognized sports body. In the given case, sporting event is not organized by recognized sports body. Service provided by Ms. Purva are not exempt from GST. Comfortable, sir? Illustration number 3. Decide with reason whether the following independent services are exempt under CGST Act. Mrs. Fast Transports, a GTA, transported relief material meant for victim of Kerala flood being natural disaster by road from Delhi to Ernakulam for a limited company. I think they repeated. Yes, sir. Sometimes it would have been asked in RTP and it would have been lifted to examination. You tell me, taxable exempted. Service provided by GTA by way of transport in a goods carriage of inter alia relief material meant for victim of inter alia natural or man-made disaster are exempt from. Fantastic to the core. K Enterprises, an event organizer, provided services to Breathing Wall Limited by way of organizing business exhibition at Pragati Maldan in New Delhi as a part of Make in India initiative. So an event organizer has organized the business exhibition in India. Taxable. If it is organized outside India, case number 2, man. Service provided by an organizer to any person in respect of business exhibition held outside India is, since in the given case exhibition is organized in India, services of organization of event by K Enterprises will not be exempt from. Comfortable, sir? This is a illustration number 4. Green Agro Services, a registered person, provide the following information relating to its activity during the month of February. Services relating to rearing of sheep exempted because sheep is a agricultural produce. Yes, sir. Animals are agricultural produce, not only plants but also animal, except the rearing of horses. Service relating to rearing of sheep exempt, since service relating to rearing of all life form of animal except horses for food etc. are exempt from. Services by way of artificial insemination of horses, taxable. Service by way of artificial insemination of horses not exempt, since service of artificial insemination are exempt only of livestock other than processing of sugar cane into jaggery, because this is a commercial item, right, man? Yes, sir. Processing of sugar cane into jaggery not exempt, since process which alter the what characteristics of agriculture produce are not exempt, and processing of sugar cane into jaggery changes the essential characteristics of milling of paddy into rice. Taxable because earlier it was paddy agriculture produce, rice is a commercial product, right, sir? Yes, sir. Milling of paddy into rice not exempt, since this process being carrying out after cultivation is over is not an intermediate what process in relation to cultivation of plant, sir, and this also changes the essential characteristics of paddy. Services by way of fumigation in a warehouse of agriculture produce, taxable, sir. 1,80,000. Service by way of fumigation in a warehouse of agriculture produce is not covered under. Earlier it was exempted, but now it is removed, right, sir? As the same is not service provided to agriculture produce, so the value of taxable supply will be 21,30,000. Comfortable? I'm moving into illustration number 5. This is a Jan 2021 question. Satya Soy Resident Welfare Association, a registered person under GST, has 30 members, each paying 8,000 as maintenance charges per month for sourcing of goods and service from third person for common use of its members. The association purchased a water pump for rupees 59,000, inclusive of GST 9,000. That means they paid GST of how much? This can be taken as ITC. And availed input service of 23,600, including GST of 3,600. This can be taken as ITC for common use of its members during February. Compute the total GST payable, if any, by Satya Sai Resident Welfare Association for February 2020. GST rate is 18%. All transactions are what state supply? First take the calculator, man. Sir, 8,000 rupees they are collecting from how many members? 30. 8,000 into 30 comes to how much lakh? 2,40,000. This is for month, right, sir? Into 12 comes to how much? 28,80,000. Means aggregate turnover exceed 20 lakh. That means they are liable to take the registration. So this guy is liable to take the registration, point number 1. And point number 2 is, my dear lovable students, their monthly maintenance charges exceed 7,000. So both the condition has been, so they are supposed to collect what? GST. And whatever GST they paid on input can be taken as ITC. So maintenance charges received 8,000 into 30 members. Service by RWA to its members for sourcing of goods on service from what person? For the common use of its members in a housing society are exempt provided the share of contribution per month per member is up to how much? Otherwise, entire amount is taxable. So you tell me 2,40,000 rupees they have collected, right, sir? Yes, sir. Total GST payable, it has been logically presumed that maintenance charges are exclusive of what? GST. So 2,40,000 into what is the rate of GST? 18%. Into 18% come to 43,200. They have to collect from the members as GST. Right, sir? Against this, they can claim whatever GST they paid as ITC. Balance is the net amount of GST to be paid to the government. So Resident Welfare Association is entitled to take ITC of GST paid by them on capital goods and input service used by it for making supply to its members and use such ITC for discharge of what liability? On such supply where the amount charged for such supply is more than 7,500 per month per member. The Satya Sai Resident Welfare Association can avail ITC of GST paid on water pump purchase, that is how much? And input service avail how much? And net GST payable in this case comes out to 30,600 because 43,200 is what output tax collected from members, right, sir? Less ITC 9,000 plus 3,600 comes to, so 43,200 minus 12,600 comes to 30,600 is the net GST to be paid. Comfortable? I'm moving into illustration number 6, the question number 6. This has been tested in December 21. AB Limited, a registered company of Chennai, Tamil Nadu, has provided the following service for the month of October. Service of transportation of students, faculty and staff from home to college. Sir, who is the service provider? AB Limited. Right, sir? AB Limited. Sir, they transported students, faculty, staff to college above +2. A private college providing degree course in BBA, MBA, BCom, MCom, 2,50,000. Taxable. So, services of transportation of students, faculty and staff to Commerce College not exempt, since transportation service provided to an education institution are exempt only if institution provide preschool education or education up to higher secondary or comfortable. Online monthly magazine, that is supply of online journals and periodical containing question bank and latest update in law to students of PQR Law College offering degree courses in LLB and LLM. Supply of periodical journals above +2 are exempted. So this is college man, hence it is exempt from GST. Online monthly magazine to students of PQR Law College, service of supply of online education journal provided to an education institution providing qualification recognized by law or exempt from GST. Third one, man. Housekeeping services to T Coaching Institute, 50,000. T Coaching Institute, because security, housekeeping and cleaning services are exempt only up to +2. So, housekeeping services to T Coaching Center is not exempted because they are not up to +2. Security services to N Higher Secondary School, exempted. So, this is exempted, man. Security services to N Higher Secondary School. Security services provided to an education institution providing education up to higher secondary are exempt from. Sir, from this and all, what you should understand now, you should be very thorough with the provisions. How much you are thorough, how much you are revising, that much examination will be easy. Right, sir? Service of providing breakfast, lunch and dinner to students of ABC Medical College offering degree course recognized by law in the medical field. We all know that security, housekeeping and cleaning services, hello sir, is exempted only up to, this is beyond +2, right sir? So this is what? Taxable. Service of providing breakfast, lunch and dinner to students of ABC Medical College is not exempt, since catering service provided to an education institution are exempt only if such institution provide preschool education or education up to, so the value of taxable supply will be 8,80,000. All the above amount are exclusive of GST. Compute the taxable supply of AB Limited for the month of October with necessary explanation. From Q stands for qualification. They have specifically asked a question. Hello sir. I'm moving into illustration number question number 7. Under the GST law, taxes on taxable service supplied by central government or the state government to a business entity in India are payable by the recipient of service. Yes sir. If the service provider is government or local authority and the service recipient is business entity, then the business entity located in the taxable territory is the person liable to pay tax on. State the exception of the above statement. Is there any exception to that? Yes sir. What is exception? Renting of immobile property, service provided by Department of Post, service provided in relation to aircraft or vessel either inside or outside the presence of the port, transportation of goods and passengers, right sir? That's what. On the following service supplied by central government or state government to a business entity in India is payable by the supplier of the service. Service of renting of immobile property provided to a dash business entity. Because even if it is to a registered business entity, RCM will be service by Department of Post by way of speed post, express parcel post, life insurance and agency services provided to a person other than central government, state government or union territory or what authority. Service in relation to an aircraft or vessel inside or outside the presence of a port or airport. Service of transportation of what and what. From the exemption, Sarkar, they have asked a question. Sir, what is the question? Very simple. Generally, if any service has been provided by government or local authority to a business entity is the person liable to pay tax on. But these four are exception for this service provider, that is government itself has to collect tax at what CM? Moving to illustration number 8. Answer the following after reading the below given paragraph. November 22 question. Briefly discuss the relevant provision, decide the correct conclusion, determine the validity of the given advice, whether it is correct or incorrect. Darun provides service as business facilitator to a Zio bank in opening of bank account to villagers in its rural branch in Punjab and earned a commission of 22 lakh in the month of April 2022. So far he is not registered under GST. Darun's tax consultant advised him that he is liable for registration under GST as his gross receipts exceeds how much lakh? 20 lakh. Darun has no other receipt or business activity other than the above. You tell me what Darun has done. Darun has given business facilitator services to a Zio bank in opening of a bank account in a village to its dash branch, rural branch. Is it exempted or taxable? Exempted. That means no one is liable to pay GST. Are you really with me? But the aggregate turnover exceed how much lakh? 20 lakh. Still he is not liable to take what? GST registration. As per section 23 23 person not liable for registration. This we will discuss in the registration chapter. Question is linking both exemption and the, as per section 11, read with notification number 12 bar 2017, services provided by a business facilitator to a banking company in rural area is exempt from. Accordingly, in the present case, service provided by Mr. Dharan to Zeo Bank is exempt from. Also, as per section 23 of the VAT Act, CGST Act, a person exclusively engaged in supply of exempted goods or services is not liable to get registered, even though aggregate turnover exceeds the threshold limit of how much lakh. Sir, if you are supplying only exempt supply, are you supplying only supply of farm labor? Hello, sir. And if your turnover exceeds 20 lakh, don't take registration. That what section 23, person not liable for registration. In the present case, as Mr. Dharan is not having any transaction other than what supply, by way of service as business facilitator, he is not required to get registered. The advice of his tax consultant is what? Invalid. Comfortable? Because, sir, if you are supplying exclusively exempt supply, and if the aggregate turnover exceeds the threshold limit of 10 lakh or 20 lakh or 40 lakh as the, you are not liable to take the registration as per section 23. That is person. I'm moving into illustration. Question number 9. Mr. Shyamdas was admitted to Suraksha Hospital in Mumbai for 2 days in relation to his diagnosis of removal of stone from his kidney. For the said services, Suraksha Hospital charged from Mr. Das room rent 7,000 per day for 2 days, which is more than operation theatre charges 5,000. Exempted. Operation theatre means ICU. Right, sir? Exempted. Because irrespective of the amount. Doctor consultation charges 8,000. Sir, healthcare services provided by clinical establishment, authorized medical practitioner, paramedics. Authorized medical practitioner means doctor. So, doctor consultation charges 8,000. Taxable exempted. Other services, the remaining something not relating to what healthcare services, taxable exempted. In each of the above scenarios, explain whether Suraksha Hospital should levy GST or not, in line with the relevant provisions of the GST law. Sir, for room rent, 7,000 is taxable, sir. Hello, sir. Look at the note, sir. Room charges collected by clinical establishment for providing healthcare services other than ICU, CCU, ICCU, NICU exceeds how much per day? Which is taxable. So above case, room rent per day exceed 5,000. So GST is leviable. Sir, pre-treatment, diagnosis, treatment, post-treatment care for any disease, illness, injury, pregnancy, including transportation in ambulance, does not include cosmetic or what surgery, and hair transplantation other than for restoring body parts affected due to, sir, congenital defects, development abnormality, injury or trauma. All services are. So for above 2, 3, 4, GST is not applicable. Here, look at here. Operation theatre is what? Nil. Doctor consultation is nil. For us also it is exempted. But other services 4,000. For us it was taxable. But here it is what? Exempted. The reason or logic what you should understand is, even after the post, what man? Medical. Post operation also some days they will be there in the hospital. Right, sir? During that time, if any services provided, that is also exempt from. Shall I move to illustration number 10? GTA service provided to an unregistered person, including unregistered casual taxable person, are exempt from what? By virtue of section 21A of the GST law, discuss the validity of the above statement. Is the statement right? GTA service provided to an unregistered person, including unregistered casual taxable person, are exempt from GST. Other than certain people are there. Exceptions are there. Right, sir? The given statement is invalid. Service provided to an unregistered individual, HUF, AJP, such individual, HUF, AJP should not have factory, are exempted. GTA service provided to any other person are taxable, including, because we are having exception, because this exemption will not be applicable to 5 people. Number 1, factory, society, cooperative society, body corporate, partnership firm, whether registered or not, and registered casual taxable person. Shall I come to question number 11? Mr. Dhanwan, an individual registered supplier of Ahmedabad, Gujarat, received the following amount towards rendering of intra-state supply of various services in the month of Jan. You have to tell me whether it is taxable or exempted. Consideration received from security and housekeeping services provided to Holy Foundation, an education institution providing service by way of preschool education outside the school premises. So this 60,000 is taxable. Sir, consideration received from security and housekeeping services provided to Holy Foundation on education institution providing services by way of preschool education outside the school premises on its annual day function. Service to education institution by way of housekeeping within the premises is what? Exempted. However, in this case, it is provided outside the premises. Therefore, it is taxable. Already I highlighted when I take the class. The amount received as honorarium for participation as guest anchor on Apna TV in relation to a debate. Taxable. Even we discussed the circular also. So this 2,25,000 is taxable. Under what CM? Amount received as honorarium for transportation of guest anchor on Apna TV in relation to a debate. As per CBIC circular, considered received as guest anchor is third one. Some received as hiring charges for provision of non-AC contract carriage for transportation of employee to and from the work to Mrs. Siddhi Private Limited, a registered person under GST. Such hiring is for 3 months. Use of the contract carriage is at the disposal of the company. Is there any specific exclusion for company? So what they are doing, actually this guy, that is this guy means Mr. Dhawan, an individual, is supplying the hiring charges. Yes, I heard. Some received as hiring charges for provision of non-AC what carriage. So this guy were having some bus or car or something is given that hire. Sir, only a non-AC contract carriage, if you are transporting passenger by yourself, that is exempt from. Actually, what this guy has done, he has given for hire. So is this 1,50,000 taxable, exempted? Taxable under FCM. Some received as hiring charges for provision of non-AC contract carriage for transportation of employee to and from work to Mrs. Siddhi Private Limited, a registered person under the what? GST. Such hiring is for how much month? Use of contract carriage is at the disposal of the company. Non-AC contract carriage for hire or tourism is. But by using that non-AC contract carriage, if you are transporting passenger from one place to another, that is exempt from. But what he has done, he has given for what? Hire, and he is getting some hiring charges, that is taxable. Amount received from provision of training in recreation activity of music, exempted, because recreational activity relating to culture and arts by this is an individual, hence it is exempt from. It's exempted, man. Sir, amount received from provision of training in recreational activity of music, services by way of training in recreation activity relating to art or culture by an individual is what? Renting of residential flat to Mr. Sahil, proprietor of Mrs. Dayaram and Sons, a registered person under GST for the purpose of his own residence in personal capacity is exempted. Same adjustment we done in class. Yes, sir. So it is exempted, man. Renting of residential flat to Mr. Sahil, proprietor of Ms. Dayaram and Sons, a registered person under GST for the purpose of his own residence in personal capacity. Renting of residential property to a registered person for their family stay is exempt from. So the value of taxable supply comes to 4,35,000. You are required to compute the value of supply on which GST is to be paid by Mr. Dhanwan for the month of January. All the amounts stated above are exclusive of GST wherever applicable. Suitable notes should form part of the answer. This is a November 2023 question, my dear lovable students. From this, what you should understand is you should have a perfect knowledge of the provision. Generally, what students will do, they will stop revising after the workbook. Actually, after doing workbook, you have to revisit the provision once again and you have to revise. Then lot of kuti things you will carry. Okay, this point they are testing by this way. Hello, sir. So with this, officially we can declare that we are through with the workbook of exemption, ICI study material, RTP, MTP and the past examination question.